Hello viewers, supergt here. This is potentially my last ever race at the Nurburgring. We've come to the end of the season, it's NLS 10. We finished second in pretty much every race so far. We're going to try and finish on a high as Batman walks past me. I don't know what his pace is like, but we're going to try and beat him as well. Let's jump into qualifying because we need to have a good one here because we want to win this race and finish the season on a high.
Yes, our last race of the season, and possibly our last race ever. All will be explained shortly in the video. But Mr. Manuel Metzger was out here trying to put us up towards the top of the timing sheets, with presumably Batman up there as well. Now, our car has done an 8:26 fastest lap before in the past. That is the fastest we have ever achieved. But first indications on this opening lap were that Manny was going incredibly quickly and that we could possibly or probably beat that. In fact, he did. He went for an 8:23.906 and quite rightly got a round of applause as he arrived back in the pit lane. Now, it was a great lap, the fastest one that we've ever done in our car, but it wasn't good enough for pole position because this Mercedes GT4 had turned up and was incredibly fast. We'd never seen it before. We didn't know how good it was. Turns out it was very good, crossing the line at the end of qualifying with a very fast 8:19.
Yeah, so we've got this Mercedes GT4 car. We don't know how good it is. It's obviously quick because of qualifying, but we haven't raced it this year. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how that car does. It might contribute to us staying in second place, which we are on the grid. Misha, win it on turn one, mate.
Absolutely.
Have a good stint.
I will.
Now, we had the 187 car just behind us on the grid. This car has won pretty much all of the races this year, apart from the first one. So we knew this was going to be a very difficult race. And we had a very difficult decision to make with regard to the tyre choice at the start of this race.
We're on the slick tyre for the start. Misha's obviously going to do his warm-up lap now. We'll find out if it is a bit wetter. It's very difficult to judge what this weather's doing. I think it's going to be a slick start, so let's see. So I'm sure many of you are wondering, why is this your last GT4 race? Well, we're not sure about the funding for next year. As it stands right now, this is October the 10th as I'm recording this. I'm not sure if I'll be driving next year. I hope we are. Black Falcon are trying to work it out. We're trying to make it happen, but nothing's certain. And this is what it's like in racing. You get to the end of the season, nothing's really guaranteed for next year. So, we're just going to try and end this season on a high. It's been amazing, but for next season, we don't know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, the future a little bit unclear at the moment. I'm sure in due course we will find out what our plans are for 2026. However, the immediate plans in this race are for Misha to work out what the tyres are doing as we go on this long formation lap. As you can see, it's a very grey day. The weather was coming in. We did expect rain. However, at this moment here, you can see the track is dry enough for slicks at least. At the beginning of the race, before the race begins, you can see the Mercedes GT4 car there peeling into the pit lane for, well, we don't know what the reason is, but they have done. And so we're going to gain a position there from the pole sitter. However, losing two positions here, one to the 187 and then another to the 155. But Misha's job here really is just to ease into this race, judge the differing conditions, and make sure we have a race to run later on. Try to minimise that damage. And now Misha hadn't started a race all season, and so it was quite nice for him to get behind the wheel for the start of one. Normally this year I've been starting a lot of the races, so this time I would be waiting until the third stint out of 4 amongst our drivers. Now here, just having to check up on the exit of turn 4, losing some momentum, and the 175 dark blue Aston Martin there goes through into third.
So the Mercedes, which is in pole position in our class, is in the pit lane changing tyres. Don't know why. We've not raced them before. They haven't turned up this year, so we don't know really what they're like. But interesting, different strategy. Let's see how it plays out.
Part way through lap number 1, Misha was trying to make his way back through the pack. Currently in 4th, overtaking the 187. Now that's been something we've not really been able to do all of this year. And that was a good sign for the remainder of the race, that we were able to get past them quite quickly and easily, especially on the Nordschleife, where overtaking isn't as easy. But now, as you can probably tell, the weather is beginning to make a significant difference. The grip levels are definitely a lot lower. And pretty much all of us who started on the slicks, which is everyone, beginning to really struggle on the exit there. Misha having some moments and having to work the wheel very hard. You see the track map there. The 144 is the Mercedes. A couple of sectors behind. So not having to worry about them for now. Or have they played a blinder with the strategy going onto the wet tyre early? We will see in due course. Misha goes around for another lap on the slick tyre. Yes, it is obviously slippery. A lot of the track is dry, as you can see here on the Grand Prix circuit at the beginning of the lap, with the Nordschleife or parts of the Nordschleife a bit slipperier. Plus also, by coming in too early, you might have to do an extra pit stop later on. So there is this strategy consideration. For the moment in time, you can see the 155 and the 175 just ahead of us on the track. So about 6 or 7 seconds ahead. And I think this was a really solid stint by Misha just to keep us close to the lead. Yes, we're in third, but we're still absolutely in with a chance of winning this one. So Misha brings it in after 4 laps. Solid, safe driving over to Jimmy to try to regain the lead. Misha, great stint, mate.
Very good.
About 7 seconds off the lead, holding a good position. We're in third. Things are looking okay. We have a good chance here, guys.
And now with Jimmy behind the wheel, it's up to him to try to claw us back closer to the top 3. Now sat in 4th. This was going to be one of those races where the weather, the changing strategies, the different tyres available, and the Mercedes GT4 thrown into the mixer would make this a really interesting final race of the season. Now Jimmy there crossing the line with the Mercedes actually clawing him in, and we were under threat here to go down into 5th position. Now you're going to see just how quick this car is. As I said, we've not raced this car before, we don't know how good it is, and this is just a part of this series at the Nurburgring, where sometimes as a one-off some car will turn up and you just got to learn how good they are. Now here you can see the power is absolutely incredible as he easily goes by on the left hand side. There's nothing Jimmy really can do about that. I mean, you can fight and defend that, but really just going to lose time because it's pretty much inevitable. That car was supremely fast. I think Jimmy raising his hand there, not really sure what he can do about it, but for now he's just got to continue, stay in the race and see what happens. You never know in a race around the Nurburgring. So many things can trip you up and trip up your opponents. By now we were a good couple of minutes behind the 175 Aston Martin and the 155 BMW before they come in for their pit stops. And as you can see, they did that a couple of laps later. The Mercedes would roar on by. That car gapped Jimmy so quickly. Nothing he can do about it, of course. As he goes through to complete another lap. We regained a couple of positions there, as these cars were still in the pit lane. So this was one of those really confusing middle part of the races where you're not really quite sure exactly who's got the upper hand. Obviously you have track position, but sometimes someone's got a better strategy or they're on the right tyres and they're a bit further back so they can come back into the picture. However here, Jimmy going for a move on the 187, having to get the move done on the outside, gets run wide, having to back out. We'll be patient here. This is lap number 8 of 23. So over an hour into the race now. Heading up towards the end of the Grand Prix section. And you see the track just getting slightly wetter as the space is afforded. I mean, I think it's almost like he moved over for us there. Let's go through. So the 187 definitely off kilter in this race. Definitely not as fast as it normally is. And this Mercedes is not as fast as it normally is because it's pulling over there to the side with its hazard lights on. So something's gone drastically wrong for the number 144 Mercedes AMG as we move into the lead of the race. So once again, it's going all over the place. Suddenly we were 5th and now we're back to 1st. It really is all kicking off as now the weather begins to get worse as well, and the Aston Martin now comes back. So you can see the amount of raindrops on the windscreen. It's one of those conditions where you can drive on the slick tyre, but you've got to be super careful depending on where you are on the track. And I think this Aston Martin much better equipped at this moment of the race to deal with these conditions.
Yeah, so the track's just been getting wetter and wetter over Jimmy's stint. I think he's going to come in now because just half the track is really treacherous. It's just mixing up this race completely. I really don't know how he's going to win.
this pit stop came at quite a nice time for Jimmy to get some fresh rubber on the car with some better pressures to deal with this increasingly wet weather now. You can see it came in really slowly over the course of this first 10 laps, let's say an hour and a half of this race. So it wasn't an easy switch. It wasn't like it just came down in one go and you knew exactly when to swap. 187 comes into the pit lane, and we managed to go through at the beginning of lap 11 back to second now to the Aston Martin, the 175 car. We were initially worried about the Mercedes-Benz. Now that car was, after its slowdown moment a couple of laps ago, firmly out of the race, and that was confirmed a couple of moments later here as we go through the final corner, because we spot it on the back of this flatbed truck, and obviously that is not a good strategy to try to win a race. And so our, I would say, main worry going into the race, given their speed in the qualifying, is firmly out of the race and now sat in the pit lane as Jimmy has a massive moment through Schredenkreuze.
Okay guys, we've changed the strategy. I am now going out. We're about 3 minutes off of the lead, so it's going to be a miraculous turnaround if we turn out to win this race. But you know, it's my final stint in the car. Let's go and do it.
And here we go then, out onto the circuit for my last stint of 2025, possibly my last stint in this car, and maybe my last stint at the Nurburgring. Hopefully not on any of those counts, but we continue here. Let's push on and try to regain some of the lost time to the cars in front. Now coming down here on cold tyres, I can assure you this is a scary moment here, guys. You turn in and suddenly the car's moving from right to left for a right-hander. Not an ideal scenario. My heart sunk, I must say. And I knew from then on this would be a really tricky lap. Trying to go out onto the circuit. This has always been a difficult thing in motorsport. Going out onto the circuit halfway through a race and trying to judge the conditions because you don't have all the information to hand. Now a bit of a lapse here. There was a green flag on the left. I was too busy looking at the intervention car. We lose a bit of ground reacting to the green flag a little bit late there. But the main thing is just trying to bring this car around safely and not do anything silly. We've had a really good year in this car with no damage, no crashes to report of. And I think that is a major success for any series or any car going around this track at, you know, at racing speed. So that's a record we want to try and keep. So this is lap number 16 now. Sat in third, up behind the 175. The Aston Martin about 1 minute and 50 seconds ahead. So we had quite a lot of time to try to claw back in this stint. As we head through the hats and back section, quite a lot of traffic now to try to contend with. Not always easy in these conditions. I think in the dry it's a lot easier because you know that the grip is fairly consistent across the circuit. However, when it's wet, it's really quite a bit of a risk to go offline. You see there, really not a lot of grip through this section, and I could send it around the outside there, also there, but I'm just really trying to manage this risk and not do anything silly. Just make sure we stay in the race and don't get any damage, and eventually we get through. Sometimes you do have to just wait. It is frustrating, but it is often the right decision. A little bit later on in the lap, we have the gap coming down. I was gaining maybe 10 or so seconds a lap on the Aston Martin, and so for the 1 minute 50 gap did eventually come down to about 1 minute 30 by the end of my second lap, and was coming down even further as we sat in third. So it's one of those stints where you're racing against someone, you don't know where they are, and you know they're minutes ahead up the road, but you're just trying to churn away the laps as best as possible. A lot of work on the wheel, really busy here. It's really difficult racing around here in these conditions. The nuances and the detail have to be right there. There's so many things that can trip you up at the Nurburgring. The weather, the curbs, the camber, and in the wet it makes everything so much more difficult. As we go through a plume of smoke, not sure exactly what that was. We can't see anything immediately in front of us, but I'm sure in a moment we will see what that was caused by. And on the exit here, as you can see, a plume of smoke showed itself once more, and there is a car here going slowly. We're going to try and get past this guy as quickly as possible. Looks like maybe the tyre is rubbing against the bodywork or something a bit more sinister than that. But we do go through, don't really lose any time. That is always a bonus. End of lap 18, one more lap to go. The 155 on the map is being lapsed. It's the 175 that we're trying to look at on the map on the top right. So they're pretty much most of the length of the Grand Prix circuit ahead. It's about 1 minute 10, I would say, because it is the short version of the circuit. So I've definitely gained. That is an important detail here. I think it was a solid stint. There was a moment here going quite deep into Stahlstrecke, taking the karting line. Quite a scary moment as you're heading towards that barrier at speed. But actually coming out of there quite quickly, I would say. End of the stint. It was an honour. We bring the car in third place over to Mr. Manuel Metzger to try to get us this race win.
Oh my god, that was a wild stint, guys. But now we're hoping for the dry, really. We hope that the track is getting towards slick tyres because we put the slick tyres on. The others are kind of banking on wets. It was definitely drying out though, so it could go our way still.
Yeah, there's going to be another twist in the tail just yet, because the track was beginning to dry out. With only 4 laps left to go, we had a chance here. We bolted on the slick tyre for Mr. Manuel Metzger to go and push for the last part of this race. And the track was definitely drying. You can see there was a clear groove of a dry line. And so this is exactly the situation we need Manuel Metzger for. Just pure experience. This man has driven so many laps around this track in so many conditions. And if there's one man who can push and try to catch up and put pressure on the top teams, it's absolutely Manuel Metzger. And he's going to try and do that now. Up against the 187 here, you see the difference in tyres. It's not even a competition. As we go through, up into second place. And the 187 there, going to give us a bit of a flash of the headlights to say maybe, on you go, sir. Try to catch up with the race leader, who is here, the 175, in the pit lane. I think they made the right decision. They could have stayed out. They had a good 3-minute lead before that pit stop. And so staying out might have been a risk because it was drying up quite quickly. They were on the wet tyres. They changed over to the slick. It was the right call. They surrendered some of their lead, back down to about a minute. And taking a look at the track map now, the 175 is the car we're gaining on, and we absolutely are. Halfway through lap 21, this was a really stressful moment because there was actually a genuine chance of Manny catching up and winning this race.
Oh man, I don't need this shit anymore, dude. Either we come second easily, or just let us win easily, alright? I'm only 19 years old. Look at me. Yeah.
Biggest news of the century, Jimmy Broadbent is 19. But in other news, as we approached the end of lap 21 and the Aston went on to lap 22, something major was about to happen.
You crashed, you fuck.
Oh, now we've got the 175. That's the Aston.
Yeah, that's been going really well. That was leading its class.
I think the Aston Martin's crashed at turn 1. Aston Martin just binned it at turn 1. And we're into the lead with 2 laps to go, so just got to bring it home now.
And there it was. The Aston Martin number 175 had firmly embedded itself in the tyre wall at the end of turn 1. We move up into the race lead. All Manny had to do now, with the seconds ticking away, is bring the car home, and he duly obliged, and he did exactly that to bring home.
Get in there, Lewis! Come on!
And he did exactly that to bring home a race win at the end of the year.
Congratulations.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
Oh,
Goosebumps.
yeah. Come on, yeah! Guys.
Finally. Good job, guys. Good job.
Oh. We broke the curse at long last, guys. I never thought that second place curse was going to go away. We did it, finally.
We have a P2 sandwich because we started P1 and in between were P2s and this is now P1. So I'll take that. Great start of the season and great ending. What happened in between was a story.
We start and end on a high. Let's go
Yes.
see Manny. Yeah!
We did it! Yeah, baby!
Oh my god!
I have this. Look what.
Oh, nice. Come in, mate.
No exit here.
I'm just trapped over here. I can't escape. Yeah, I know. I've been lucky.
You know what? I have been really lucky. This has been a truly amazing past couple of years racing at the Nurburgring Nordschleife with the Bilstein team, Jimmy, Misha and Manny, and everyone at Bilstein as well, and Black Falcon of course. Lots of special moments. Having only driven this track on a sim until a couple of years ago, and now having been behind the wheel of a BMW GT4 race car, let's not forget the 330i as well. And now with 6 class wins, over 300 laps of experience, sharing the track with Max Verstappen, it has been a truly incredible journey. Thank you guys for supporting it. Thank you for being part of it. Thank you to Bilstein for making it happen. And let's see what happens next year. Hopefully it's some good news.